a Chinese line dance performance featuring Freddie's Modern Kung Fu. And Freddie's Modern Kung Fu was founded in 2009 by Freddie Lee Sifu, who's had over 31 years of experience in Kung Fu and martial arts. And the school currently has 4 other instructors who were all trained by Lee Sifu. So please give a round of welcome to Lee Sifu and his troupe. applause for the dancers. That was wonderful. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and pull back my slides for the next segment. So up next, we will have Freddie Lee Sifu help answer some questions that you may have, right? Kind of how did they get started, or the significance of these dance routines. Feel free to, we're happy to take any questions. Anybody in the room or virtual? Yes.
Why do you guys perform this line dance? What's the significance of it?
So the question is, why do you perform this dance? What's the significance?
Alright, so it's a traditional dance that's basically it's a big part of the Chinese culture. As far as the martial arts is concerned, they use it for, to bring good luck, good fortune, and into the Chinese New Year's celebrations like birthday parties and gatherings for businesses, grand openings for businesses. This Chinese line dance was originally started to drive away like evil spirits and things like that. It's associated with Buddhism, and it has become more of just celebratory now, but it's a big part of the Chinese martial arts in Kung Fu. Usually, the Chinese martial arts school will have a line dance troupe, and it's a symbol of the school as well.
Thanks. Any other questions in the room?
Just actually, I'm sorry. So one of the questions that I noticed that with the line, that there's a lot of beautiful patterns and things like a reflective device in the front. Is that just for the design, or does it have a significant meaning?
Yes, it's funny you bring that up with the reflective design, because I guess not a lot of people notice it, but it's really nice that you do notice it. I just found out, that it's like a mirror, and then like I said, it's supposed to like drive away evil spirits. So it's a kind of bad luck to touch that part of the line. So sometimes people, they want to touch the line, but you shouldn't touch the mirror part, because it does bring bad luck, supposedly. So in the Chinese culture too, they do have these hexagrams with the mirrors as well, and people put it throughout their home. People call it feng shui, but it's actually feng shui, which is basically like positive energy in your environments. So everything that we do has energy associated with it. So just like this building, walking in, it's amazing. It's like very new, very clean, well kept, and it's representing strong energy. But if you don't take care of your things, or you basically, just don't clean, it just brings negative energy. So part of the mirror is designed to just push away the evil spirits, and the dancing is also designed to push it away. And they also sometimes have firecrackers. It's the loud sound pushing away that negative energy. The stances and the movements in the line, a lot of the stances are basically martial arts stances. So when we come down like this, it's called a horse stance. So we see the lion doing something like this. And then when we push it forward like that, it's called the arrow stance. You see the lion moving his head up. This is the cat stance. The lion will be doing something like that. And then the cross stance. These are all basic, fundamental foundation of the combative elements of the Kung Fu. And then when you have the lion, they're basically practicing those stances while he's dancing. So.
Thanks, Freddie. One thing I noticed is how, and it just occurred to me how much coordination is required between the two dancers, right? Especially the one in the back, because you can't really see what's going on, like you're covering your costume. So it requires a lot of coordination. So how do you instill your students that coordination?
Yeah, it's interesting you bring that up. It's a lot harder than it might look, but you have to probably give life to the lion and bring life to it. So the person in the back is probably one of the hardest ones, because a lot of people complain about back pain because they gotta go like this the whole time, and for 10 minutes long, it hurts. So a lot of people don't want to work the back, so luckily my son Kyo loves working the back. But most people don't want to do that part, but they have to follow the movements of the person in the front, and if the person's just moving erratically, the person has to try to follow it, and it's really hard. So it's just kind of like, almost like what choreographed dancers might do. They have to constantly practice these movements over and over, so then the person in the back can feel how that person in the front is going to move. And it takes a lot of practice, and it's funny that you realize it, because I think most people don't even pay attention, but the fact that you do realize, the subtle movements is really nice, but it just takes a lot of practice, and it just goes back to the martial arts, because we practice a lot of fitness, and we do a lot of stretching, and we do a lot of forms, and all that preps us up to be able to do the line dance without having to be like, oh, there's line dance coming up, so we got prepared. We're already prepared for it, so it just kind of goes with the training.
Great, thanks for that wonderful explanation. Not to shortchange the person in the front too, because that's also very important. Like you said, it affects the flow of the whole dance, and even then, like that view isn't like completely unobstructed, right? You have to bond that heavy lines in it. So do they see out the mouth, or is there like certain slots where they can see out?
Typically when the person starts practicing the line dance, they're gonna want to look through the mouth, because that's the only opening, but you're not supposed to do that, because it doesn't make the line look too lifelike. So you gotta kind of look through the eyes of the lion, and usually the person in the front is usually looking at the ground for the most part. But it's different moves associated that you have to learn. The front, neither of it is easy. The back's not easy, the front's not easy, because to me the front it requires a lot of creativity, especially if we're gonna do a whole 10 minutes. You gotta try to come up with different moves to see if you could add a little bit more excitement and character to the dance. So the front, the back, the music, like all of it is pretty difficult, and then it's not like a one-man show. You need like a minimum of 5 people to execute the show. So it takes a lot of work and a lot of practice and a lot of time to even get to the point where we're at right now. Because the nature of people is people move, people lose jobs, people go different places, and it's kind of hard to get like a foundation of people that you can depend on to deliver these types of performances. Luckily, for this year, the first time ever, we got hired for like 7 line dances, all within a month. That never happened before, So we're like excited about that. Yeah, I think the COVID made it, just people are just waiting for this, and we're just thankful to be prepared to deliver these performances. And it took decades of training for us to even get to this point. And I'm sure you'll see there's a lot of things that we got to work on to improve, but it just goes with the practice. Constantly we try to see what we could do to improve for the next time that we perform.
That's great. Sandy, is there a question over there?
Sure, yeah, so there were a lot of questions in the chat. Everyone loved your performance, who joined virtually, by the way. So lots of applause towards you and the group. So Haley asked, does the front dancer control the eyes blinking and the mouth opening while dancing?
Yes, the front person controls the eyes, the mouth, the ears, and he's trying to do all that while he's trying to get the footwork down and trying to come up with different moves and different things to do. It's tough. Like, I have a hard time doing the front, because to me, I could probably dance interesting for about 2 minutes, but then after that, I'm like, just gotta come up with more things. That's why we kind of switched people out so we could add new energy to the line and also to the music as well. But I think typically these types of performances might literally be like maybe 3 minutes long, but I've decided to do like a 10-minute consistent performance for everybody, and that challenges us to just basically get better at what we do, because you might have like 10 moves that you feel comfortable with, but then you gotta challenge yourself, okay, can I come up with 10 more, and so on and so forth. But yeah.
Awesome. How much time do they spend practicing each week?
Well, my kids train like 4 times a week, at least an hour each time. And I train like every day. I've been doing it for like 31 years. My kid's been doing it since they're like 3 or 4. My oldest right now, Brandon's like 17, right? So he's 17 years old now. He's been training for over 12 years. And Keo is, how old are you? 14. So he's been doing it for over 8 years. And Ken, how old are you? 10. So yeah, he's been doing it for over 6 years. And I got 2 more kids that are not right here right now, but they train as well. And it's a family training. And my father as well, he's 70, what?
73.
73 years old, you know, and he's been training pretty much his whole life too. So the whole family, you know, 3 generations has been invested into training in this Kung Fu. And when I first started the school, we barely got any requests for line dances. Probably went like that for like 8 years or something like that. But I always had this stuff with me because it kind of did something special for me when I was a little kid. I used to remember going to Chinatown, hearing that drum, seeing the lion. It sparked something in me and it made me really very proud of my culture. So when I started the martial arts, I knew that this is what I wanted to do. So I'm just thankful to find people that appreciate what we do. Just like everybody in this room and the people online, like it makes me feel that, you know, it's all worth it, and I just want to continue to promote this culture, the beauty of it, because a lot of times people look at martial arts and they're like, oh, it's a violent thing, well, it's not for me, but the lion dance, you know, is so beautiful. You know, anybody could appreciate this, not just the Chinese culture, but just all cultures. And that's what I love about the lion dance, is it brings people together, and we get hired for weddings and stuff like that, you know. And it's just like, who would think, oh, when you hire some martial artists to fight at a wedding? I mean, it's like, you know, like it's just great that it brings in people that appreciate like peace and celebration. So I'm truly thankful.
Awesome. Do you need any special skills to perform this dance?
I think sometimes people part of it is like some people might not understand how much work is required to get good at these things, and they'll be like, oh, you know, just put on the line, just do it. But when you train martial arts for so long, like, you know that there's more involved than just putting on the lion head. You know, like, just like some people that might have been dancing for like over 20 years or longer, like there's a difference between somebody who's been training in dance for like 20, 30 years compared to somebody who just move into the music just because it feels good. So there's an element of like taking the lion dance to another level by actually moving to the music and not just moving randomly. And then there's the element of the strong, powerful moves of the lion, which takes a long time to develop. And then also the power moves, like what you saw at the end, takes a lot of training. And even for this drum, it took me like forever to get good at it because I'm not good at music. I never was, you know? So I'm like looking at videos on YouTube, just like constantly trying to get better at it. And it took me a long time. And then finally, when I finally got like a gist of it, then I showed my son, and my son was just like really good for his age, and I'm just really proud of him. And then even like hitting the cymbal and the gong, you gotta like hit it on time. Everything has to be in rhythm.
My clips are right here. You like didn't wipe your face. Here.
Sorry, whoever's chanting is beautiful.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is that every single element requires practice. The cymbal, the gong, the drum, the front of the line, the back of the line, like it all has to come in to sync. And it takes a lot of work. And honestly, we could be a lot better than where we are, but it really depends on like, okay, how much are we being hired? So the more that we're getting hired, then we're like, okay, we have to put more energy into this. But if we're only getting hired like once every 3 years, then we're like, you know, like we put our energy into other things. Like we do a lot of fitness training, combat training, meditation, but it's just like, to me, like a lifetime of work to try to improve where we're at. And then constantly people are like comparing us to like what they see in YouTube and all over the world, and seeing lions jumping all over the place. Like, you know, in that culture they do it all the time, but here, I honestly think we're one of the very few lion dance troops in Illinois, and even people in other states have contacted me to try to have us go to, you know, travel over there to do this. So to me, it's kind of like a dying tradition that I want to keep alive, and it just takes a lot of work, a lot of effort to do that.
Thank you. Another question by Marinef in the chat asked, do you perform only during the new year?
Yeah, like I said, recently we've been hired like 7 times just for this month for the new year, which is brand new to us. But we normally get hired for a lot of weddings, like people, when the weather gets nicer, they would hire us for that. Maybe a couple of birthday parties that we've been to, and a few like grand openings for businesses we've done. But yeah, like I'm hoping that as the years come on that we get more consistency for the Chinese New Year's or the Lunar New Year. We actually got like hired by 2 colleges, repeat hires. So it's showing that, hey, you know, they're appreciating enough to hire us back. So we hope that we will continue to do this year after year.
How do the front and the back dancer coordinate? Are the sequences rehearsed in advance?
Ideally, you would want to do that. Just like the music is like a rehearsed, consistent pattern. But with the dancing, we're trying to build it up where we can get some type of consistency in choreograph. But as of right now, the front person is leading the tail. Like whatever the front is doing, then the tail's got to follow the front. But usually, they're always going to be integrating a couple of those roles in there. And then right now, we've integrated that power standing line at the end. So we're going to bring that consistency, and then the consistency of the line bowing 3 times at the beginning, left, right, center. So because we got like a whole 10 minutes to fill up, it's going to be hard to get the whole 10 minutes consistently choreographed. But as we build experience, ideally, if we can get the whole 10 minutes with the line, like basically doing different things throughout the entire dance, that's what we're aiming for.
Thank you. Another person in the chat asked, does practice also involve a coach to keep the 2 dancers in sync?
Yeah, so the coach from the outside sees what's going on, and they'll see what looks good, what doesn't look good, because a lot of times people will be looking out the mouth and be like, look, don't do that, look down, you know, because it doesn't look right, or the line's just not moving to the music properly. Okay, you gotta move this way, not that way. And just like the different stances, I mean, not everybody might not know how to do the stances properly. You gotta teach them the stances. So the outside coach, Sifu, would have to adjust what needs to be done, you know, in order to bring more life to the line. So when people watch these videos on YouTube or whatever the case, when you're watching a performance, essentially you're kind of like, you're looking at the eyes of what a coach would look at, or a Sifu would be like, okay, this could have been done better, all right, that looked good, this doesn't look good. So you have to communicate that to the dancers because they can't see themselves. The only way that they can see is they look at the video, but if you're doing it live, you just give them feedback right away, they make the corrections right away. So it is essential, basically, for somebody from the outside to give the feedback to the dancers so they know that what they're doing good and what they might need to improve.
So I think we'll take one more question and then we'll move on to the next segment.
Okay, sure. Last question is from Angelita. Do a lot of women perform the dances as well?
Yeah, it's interesting because one of my main dancers is my daughter, but she's not here right now. Her name is Angelina. She's like really good at the head, you know. So she's been training in martial arts since she's real little. So, I mean, just like anything that we do, you know, that is kind of male dominated, like the martial arts and basketball or football, or the case may be, if a woman is drawn to like the martial arts or to dancing, then yeah, I mean, they'd be great at it. You know, it's just dancing, but then pretty much like a huge puppet, you know? So sometimes it kind of helps because it's not, it kind of lowers the insecurity knowing that the people are looking at the line and not actually at you. So for some people, it actually is more of a comforting feeling. And even dancing in the back, I think a lot of women, especially that practice yoga, could be really good at that because they got really strong backs, and then they could be a really good part of the back. So it'd be nice if more women got involved in it, but it's just, you can only work with who comes into the school. So if not a lot of women join, then hey, there's gonna be mainly male dancers.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Freddie, for sharing all your experiences and answering our questions. And thank you for a wonderful performance. So everyone, please give a